Today, we are covering products and completed operations liability for the property and casualty exam. This is a critical component of the Commercial General Liability, or CGL, policy that is frequently tested. The exam will expect you to distinguish between these two coverages, know when coverage applies, and understand how the policy limits are structured. Products and completed operations coverage protects a business from bodily injury or property damage claims that happen away from the business premises and are caused by the company's product or its completed work. Let's break this down. Products liability applies to businesses that manufacture, sell, or distribute a product. Once that product leaves the insured's possession and causes injury or damage, products liability coverage is triggered. For example, a restaurant sells a contaminated meal that causes a customer to get sick hours after leaving. The restaurant's products liability would respond to this claim. Or imagine a toy manufacturer sells a defective toy that injures a child. The claim for the child's injuries falls under products liability because the injury occurred after the product was sold and away from the manufacturer's premises. Completed operations liability, on the other hand, applies to contractors and service providers. It covers bodily injury or property damage that arises out of work that has been finished. A common exam scenario involves a contractor. Let's say an electrician rewires a house. 6 months after the job is finished, the faulty wiring causes a fire. The damage to the house would be a completed operations claim. The key is that the work is done and the contractor has left the site. The exam loves to test the distinction between ongoing operations and completed operations. Ongoing operations are covered under the CGL's premises and operations coverage. If that same electrician accidentally drills into a water pipe while still on the job, that's an ongoing operations claim. Completed operations coverage only activates once the job is done. So, when are operations considered complete? The exam will expect you to know this. Work is considered complete at the earliest of 3 points: when all the work in the contract is finished, when all the work at a specific job site is finished if the contract involves multiple sites, or when the part of the work that caused the injury or damage has been put to its intended use by someone other than another contractor working on the same project. For instance, if a contractor builds a deck and the homeowner starts using it for barbecues, the work on that deck is considered complete, even if the contractor is still working on other parts of the house. Another crucial point for the exam is why this coverage is separated within the CGL policy. Products and completed operations has its own separate aggregate limit. This is a major exam topic. The CGL has a general aggregate limit for most claims, like premises liability. However, claims falling under products and completed operations are subject to their own distinct products completed operations aggregate limit. This means that payments for product or completed work claims reduce the products completed operations aggregate, but they do not reduce the general aggregate limit, and vice versa. This separation exists because the risk associated with products and completed work is unique and can extend for years after a policy expires, unlike a simple slip and fall on the premises. A common exam trap is a question where a product causes injury on the insured's premises. For example, a customer in a hardware store is cut by a poorly packaged saw blade before they even purchase it. This is a premises liability claim, not a products liability claim, because the product had not yet left the insured's possession. To help you remember this, use the phrase, off-site and after, it's a PCO matter. This reminds you that for products completed operations coverage to apply, the injury or damage must generally occur away from the premises and after the product is sold or the work is finished. For free practice questions, AI-powered explanations, and more exam prep tools, visit openexamprep.com. That's openexamprep, all one word, .com.